I'm getting very close to finishing Pokemon Yellow. After today, there are only 5 more videos, and then I will have ranked every single species in the game. For an extremely long period of time, Victreebel has held the top spot in the tier list, but recently Nidoking came along and stole the top spot. To me, this feels a little bit unfair since the last time I played Victreebel was in May 2023. That is 2.5 years ago, and I have learned a lot as a player since then. So I gave myself a little bit of a non-standard challenge for today's video. I'm going to come back and I'm going to play Victreebel, but I am not going to optimize and I am not going to prepare at all. I am simply going to sit down with my current level of skill, my current level of thought around the game, try to play Victreebel and see how it goes. Maybe it's going to be able to rank up, or maybe it's just going to stay exactly where it is. If I get a worse result with this playthrough, I'm not going to change its ranking. We'll just get to see how it can do without preparation. Just in case you're unaware, Victreebel is an absolute monster in Pokemon Yellow. It has the medium slow growth rate, which is the best for solo challenges. For base stats, it has 80 HP, 70 speed, 105 attack, 100 special, 65 defense, and a 13.67% chance to crit. Although its base speed at 70 is perfect for it because Razor Leaf will always be getting critical hits. And that's good news because Victreebel starts with it. In addition, it gets Sleep Powder, Stun Spore, and Acid. Remember in Generation 1 that all poison type moves are super effective against bug type Pokemon. So Acid gives me a quick option for clearing out all of the bugs in the forest, but I'm only going to fight the mandatory bug catcher because I don't think Victreebel needs more experience before it fights Brock. With the medium slow growth rate, this brings Victreebel to level 8 after the mandatory battle, and then I skip the heal in Pewter City and I skip the save before Brock. Because I'm only going to need 2 uses of Razor Leaf in order to knock out both of his Pokemon. As you can see here, every time I use Razor Leaf, it is printing the text saying that it got a critical hit, and this does waste frames. Maybe it's one of the small disadvantages that Victreebel has in this playthrough. Still, it gets an incredibly fast first gym split of 2 minutes and 16 seconds. I'm going to continue playing this playthrough as aggressively as possible. Typically in Pokemon Yellow, I would have previously stopped by the mart and picked up a bunch of items, but with Victreebel, I'm just going to skip all of them. Here's the reason why I think this is safe. Number 1, it's a poison type, so it can't be poisoned. I don't need to buy antidotes as a result. Number 2, it's probably just going to destroy all of the Pokemon that have the potential to paralyze it, so I don't think I need paralyze heals. It is such a monster in the early game that I don't think that I need potions to heal, and I'm going to buy Great Balls in the Celadon Mart and then catch myself a Doduo, rather than doing what I used to do, which is catching a Pidgey in Viridian Forest. On Route 3, I'm going to continue fighting minimum Pokemon and minimum battles, battling the Lass, then going back to Pewter City and resetting her position. Inside Mount Moon, I am going to pick up the rare candy since it's essentially free in this location. It does cost some extra time to walk over and pick it up, but this cost is extremely minimal. After that, I take on Jesse and James. As you can see here, I don't have potions, so I haven't been able to heal. Due to this, I'm fairly low on health, but with the poison type, even though I take neutral damage from poison type moves like the Coughing Smog, I don't really care. With them defeated, I head directly into Cerulean City, skipping the Pokemon Center, and then I go up against Misty without a save. Obviously, Victreebel doesn't need one, even though it's slower than both of her Pokemon, and they will be using Tackle. At least the Staryu will be, because it has no other choice, unless Misty uses an X-Defend. But the Starmie could also go for Harden instead of attacking, and so I should have enough health to knock it out, or at least put it to sleep with Sleep Powder. I don't know if this was the right choice since I waste a few turns. This is going to bloat Victreebel's time just slightly. With 2 Razor Leafs getting critical hits, I defeat Misty's ace, and earn myself a second gym split of 5 minutes and 13 seconds. I'm also going to pick up the Cerulean City rare candy. It doesn't cost much additional time either. The rival on Nugget Bridge is next. I cannot one-shot the Spearow. I guess that's a little bit annoying. I get hit by a Leer, which actually badge boosts my attack stat. This doesn't matter though because I level up immediately, which is not very nice. I have Razor Leaf so I can knock out the Sandshrew avoiding Sand Attack. Acid one-shots the Rattata, and Razor Leaf one-hits the Eevee, even though it has a fairly high special stat in Generation 1. Okay, continuing the trend of minimum battles 1000 minimum Pokemon, instead of fighting the Elixir Hiker who normally I battle, I'm gonna fight this guy who has a single Onix. That makes Route 25 just slightly faster. On the SSN, I'm gonna do my first optional battle of the playthrough fighting this youngster to get the TM for Body Slam. This move is what makes the run so easy for Victreebel. I teach it in the place of Stun Spore, and then I completely crush the rival using it. I should note I have not saved yet during this playthrough, and I'm not gonna start now. I walk into Surge's gym and confidently battle him. The grass type resists the electric type, so the only thing I'm worried about here is a critical hit from Mega Kick or Mega Punch. And as you can see, I haven't even healed before this fight. Raichu does go for Mega Kick, however, it just misses. My Sleep Powder also misses. I'm not sure I should be using it here, but then Surge goes for an X speed. I put the Raichu to sleep. After that, I'm able to use Razor Leaf and two-shot Surge's only Pokemon, giving me a third gym split of 10 minutes and 39 seconds. If you're somehow new to my channel this deep into the series, you won't know any context for these splits. Victreebel is completely crushing the game. Most Pokemon beat Brock around like 2:30 or 3 minutes, even when they have really good moves. Misty, with a really strong Pokemon, is usually like 6 to 7 minutes, and then Surge is roughly 11 to 13 minutes. Typically, I want to be arriving in Celadon City around 15 minutes with an exceptionally strong Pokemon. Even getting there around 16 or 17 minutes is still a really good run. Let's see if Victreebel can keep up its pace during the Rock Tunnel Gauntlet. The Wrapping Lass is first. I can one-shot the Oddish using Body Slam. I didn't even heal in Cerulean City because I don't need to. Since I can bypass her Stun Spore issue, the rest of this battle is completely free. The Pokemaniac inside the tunnel is sometimes a problem with Poison-type Pokemon, but here, Razor Leaf is super effective against both of his Pokemon and their one-shots. The Status Condition Junior Trainer does take 2 hits per Pokemon, and it could be slowed down if the Oddish goes for Sleep Powder, but it doesn't. It just chooses Absorb and deals 1 hit point of damage. By the way, I did heal in the center just outside of Rock Tunnel, that's why my PP has been replenished. The Self-Destructing Hiker is a joke. The Finishing Junior Trainer is also a joke. I can one-shot the Oddish, which is typically her bulkiest Pokemon. And that lets Victreebel walk into Celadon City at 13 minutes and 38 seconds. Now, I don't remember all the fine details from my Victreebel playthroughs that I did in the past, so I'm just going to take a generic option here and buy some Carbos, assuming that I might need to increase my speed a little bit. By the way, these end up being really important. The rival in Pokemon Tower is not very good. I'm gonna put the Furo to sleep though, just so that I can knock it out with Body Slam and not get hit by Mirror Move, Body Slam, and then paralyzed. This does have the downside that if I miss Sleep Powder, it can Mirror Move Sleep Powder back at me and waste a bunch of time. But it doesn't happen today. Magnemite's next. Body Slam one-shots, Razor Leaf one-shots the Shelder as well as the Sandshrew. I wasn't sure what to do for the Eevee. I went for Razor Leaf here, and it's a one-shot. Okay, Agatha Jr.'s Ghastly. I can't one-shot with Razor Leaf even though it crits, so I just put them to sleep to avoid their status conditions, and then I 2-hit. With Pokemon Tower complete, I head to Erika's gym and fight the Beauty instead of the Cool Trainer. I don't think I need more experience with Victreebel. Erika leads with Tangela. I go for Sleep Powder here, but I don't think I should have. I should have just spammed Acid and knocked it out. Weepinbell and Gloom are a little bit different. I think I do want to go for Sleep Powder against them to prevent them from attacking. This is because they're using Acid, which can drop my defense, and then they do progressively more damage. I wasn't sure that I was going to two-shot with Body Slam, but obviously I am, so I don't put the Gloom to sleep. It goes for Acid, but does very little damage. Next, inside Silph, I fight the second optional trainer of the run. This is so I can pick up the rare candy here, as well as another Carbos. Then, after the mandatory Arbok trainer, I walk over to this teleport pad, move through, open the door, and then pick up the TM for Swords Dance. This is by far Victreebel's best move, but it's a little bit under-leveled, so I might as well use my 4 rare candies now, going from level 34 up to 38 before battling the rival. I don't want to backtrack with a Pokemon that is this dominant. Okay, here's something to recognize about the rival's team, and it applies for all of the remaining battles in the playthrough. His Sandslash has Poison Sting, which it views as super effective against the grass type, so it is always going to use this move because he has AI modification 3. Because Victreebel is the poison type, it can't be poisoned, so I don't need to worry about the status condition from this move, allowing me to just spam Swords Dance at the beginning of the fight. I go all the way to +6, even though this might have been unnecessary. Then I use Razor Leaf counterintuitively to knock out the Sandslash as well as the Cloyster. Following that, Body Slam one-shots all of his remaining Pokemon. Although, I am slower than the Kadabra, and it hits with Confusion, doing a lot of damage. but it doesn't have enough. I finish it, move on to the Flareon, and one-shot with Body Slam. It is a rare playthrough when I pass through Cycling Road without battling a single optional trainer, and today is one of those rare occasions. Although I do waste a little bit of time picking up a PP up and using it on Body Slam, I don't think this is strictly necessary. If I did another playthrough with Victreebel, I'm sure I would skip this. The Safari Zone is next, and I start skipping items here like the Protein. Why would I pick that up? I don't need it. Although I did grab the Carbos, so that's a total of 4 up until now in this playthrough. In Koga's gym, I'm going to stay on minimum battles, fighting only the Juggler. In this case, one of them is really scary. The Drowsy goes for Psychic and gets a critical hit, doing massive damage to Victreebel, but it's not enough to one-shot from full health. That allowed me to get set up with 1 Swords Dance, and then Body Slam one-shots his 2 remaining Pokemon. Victreebel levels up to 42, and then I face Koga. Instead of getting hit by Psychic and having my special lowered, and then the Venomoth outspeeding and doing massive damage, I'm just going to put the Venonat to sleep, set up in peace with Swords Dance, put it back to sleep if I need to, get all the way to +6, and then one-shot everything using Body Slam. One thing to note is that Bug moves do super effective damage to Poison types in Generation 1, so it does 4 times damage when against a Grass Poison type like Victreebel, meaning Leech Life from the Venomoth can actually do a lot of damage. Victreebel is currently underspeeding Koga's Ace, so I am going to take 1 hit. In this case, Venomoth chooses Psychic, which does more than half, but Body Slam with +6 one-shots his Ace, even though it's a Rock type. Route 21. Normally I fight a trainer here, especially if I'm a Grass type Pokemon, but today I'm gonna skip Psych. There is no reason to do any training, even with Blaine coming up just around the corner. And I have said this in many of my videos, but Blaine is one of the best gym leaders in Pokemon Yellow. He routinely causes problems for even Water types in these challenges, but I'm pretty confident in Victreebel's abilities. Now I should mention that being a low level throughout this playthrough because I've skipped so many optional trainers means that I'm only 42 inside of Pokemon Mansion, so I can run into wild encounters here, like this level 46 Raticate. Now I try to run away but I can't escape. It goes for Hyper Fang, getting a critical hit doing massive damage. I can't escape again, it hits with a second Hyper Fang, and Victreebel survives on 1 hit point, escaping the battle. So that was a really close call. I make it into Blaine's gym without having to black out, and here I did want to battle one optional trainer, the guy with Rapidash. This is my 3rd optional battle of the playthrough, and it's going to be the last one. Defeating the Rapidash gives Victreebel enough experience to level up to 43, and then I use 2 rare candies, bringing it up to 45 over the next damage rounding threshold. But the more important metric here is my speed. Victreebel has exactly 109. Blaine leads with Ninetales, which has 108 speed, so Victreebel is faster, can use Sleep Powder, put the Ninetales to sleep. As long as this move hits, it misses 2 times in a row, allowing Ninetales to soften me up with 2 uses of Leer and then use Quick Attack. But this doesn't matter because then Ninetales proceeds to get a critical hit. I put it to sleep, set up with Swords Dance, badge boosting my speed stat due to Koga's badge, and then with Body Slam, I should have one-hit everything, but I don't because I critical hit the Rapidash. This is one of Victreebel's flaws. If it gets critical hits, especially in the late game, it's not going to one-shot, and then potentially it'll be in a really bad position. In this case though, Rapidash just goes for Growl. I don't really care, although this does allow the Arcanine to survive on a sliver of health, which could be really bad if it chooses Fire Blast. Instead it goes for Flamethrower. I don't have Blaine's badge, so my special stat wasn't boosted yet, but still, Victreebel is such a monster that it just survives on red health and knocks out the Arcanine. Now that I have the badge boosting my special, I head back to Saffron City, pick up the TM for Mimic, which is going to be incredibly important, and then I face Sabrina. Here, I am faster than the Abra, so I can knock it out right away, or I can put it to sleep, and then set up with Swords Dance, badge boosting my speed with 2 uses of the move so that I'm faster than all of her frail psychic types. From there, Body Slam one-shots everything, even if it gets a critical hit against the Kadabra. I'm not sure about the Alakazam because I don't crit it, but I'm pretty sure I would have one-shot. Training inside of Giovanni's gym would be fairly fast, but I really don't want to waste any time with Victreebel. And even if I did train, it wouldn't help me out against Giovanni. The problem that Victreebel has here is that it's slower than both his Dugtrio and his Persian. This allows Dugtrio to go for Fissure, which will one-shot Victreebel, but Fissure only has 30% accuracy, so Dugtrio just misses, and then I use Razor Leaf, knocking it out in a single turn. Persian's next. I am much less scared of this Pokemon, especially when Giovanni is using Guard Spec. I'm just going to put it to sleep and then set up with Swords Dance. I do miss here getting hit by Slash, which does more than half to Victreebel, so maybe I should be worried about the Persian. I miss another Sleep Powder. Luckily the Persian just whiffs its own Screech. Then I put it to sleep, set up with Swords Dance. This badge boosts my speed enough that I move first against the Persian, and with +6 I one-shot it, the Nidoqueen, the Nidoking, as well as the Rhydon, which I switched to using Razor Leaf for. The only downside against the rival is getting a critical hit, because once again I have free setup against the Sandslash using Swords Dance. I made a mistake here, going for Sleep Powder. Why am I drawing attention to this when it's not really that impactful? Well, I really want you to get a sense that I'm not playing this run perfectly. There is still a huge potential for time to be saved during this run. Also, after badge boosting on the Sandslash, I have enough speed to move first against all of his Pokemon. But as soon as I knock the Sandslash out, I level up and then I'm speed tied against his Kadabra later in the fight. This is a small detail that I might be able to make up for with slightly better planning in the run. Although, with 0 resets right now, I'm not sure I would want to add a single trainer to this playthrough. I might actually want to remove people, as well as removing rare candies. Victreebel has been dominating this playthrough. I get to the Kadabra, so is it going to move first? The answer is yes. It goes for Psybeam, which does not do enough damage. I hit with Body Slam, and the penultimate Pokemon faints. Flareon is last, but it's slow, so it's never going to get to attack. And it doesn't even matter that Victreebel is facing the team with an ace that's a fire type. Inside Victory Road, I'm going to invest some time grabbing the final rare candy of the run, but I'm not going to grind against any more trainers. Right now Victreebel is level 50, which is perfect, and I have 3 rare candies. Using all of these gives me level 53, so Victreebel is going to level up after all of the trainer's aces until I get to Lance. That's going to let me retain badge boosts for the duration of the next 3 battles. Lorelei leads with Dugong. I put it to sleep right away. I don't even want to wait for it to try rest. If it wakes up, I'll put it back to sleep, although it goes for Aurora Beam here and does very little damage. I continue my setup all the way to +6, and then I use Body Slam, knocking it out. Cloyster's next. It has high physical defense, so I go for Razor Leaf, and I get the one-shot avoiding Ice Beam. Slowbro, one-shot with Body Slam. Jinx, one-shot with Body Slam, and Lapras, also a one-shot with Body Slam. There's this guy. He's terrible. I don't even set up. Then there's Agatha. For this battle, it took me a while to figure out what the best play was with Victreebel. I didn't come to the right conclusion during my first video. The correct choice here is using Sleep Powder right away, putting her Pokemon to sleep, and then mimicking Lick from the first Gengar. Last week I used this strategy with Kingler. It is really good with Swords Dance users, but it's even better for Victreebel because I can put her Pokemon to sleep. Kingler didn't have access to that kind of convenience. Out of all the fights so far, this one is definitely the longest. Agatha kept switching in and out, which was really annoying, but eventually I'm able to mimic Lick, and then with it I can one-shot her first Gengar and the Haunter. I can use Body Slam for the Golbat and the Arbok, and then I have to two-shot the final Gengar. Being level 53 at the start of the league means I'm going to level up before Lance's Dragonite, but that's actually perfectly timed for Pokemon Yellow because then I outspeed the Aerodactyl due to badge boosts. I simply Sleep Powder the Gyarados, set up with Swords Dance, one-shot everything until the Aerodactyl, which I put to sleep, and then I use Body Slam, two-shotting the Rock type. Last is Dragonite. I was so surprised here when at level 57, Victreebel is unable to one-shot with Body Slam. I do Paralyze, but Dragonite still moves, hitting with Blizzard. This does a lot of damage, but not enough to one-shot. Victreebel isn't frozen, and then it knocks out Dragonite, moving on to the champion. Sandslash with Poison Sting gives me a free opportunity to set up with Swords Dance. Then I mimic Earthquake for a better physical move when compared with Body Slam, and I can use this to knock out the Sandslash as well as the Alakazam. I use Body Slam for neutral damage against the Executor, it one-shots. Earthquake one-hits the Magneton, and then there's Cloyster. I think I should put it to sleep. I try, then Cloyster uses Ice Beam, scores a critical hit, and Victreebel faints. This is my first reset of the run, by the way. I make it back to the Cloyster in the next fight because the champion is trivial up until this point. I put it to sleep, it wakes up, I put it back to sleep, and then I use Earthquake to two-shot. After that is Flareon, of course, Earthquake gets the job done, and Victreebel, in a completely unprepared playthrough, gets a time of 34 minutes and 58 seconds. With one reset at level 58, it finished the game with a game time of 2 hours and 16 minutes. Okay, back to the tier list. Nidoking, it's been fun having you in first place for a little while, but Victreebel today is taking back the first place spot with a completely dominant performance in an unprepared run. Its time of 34 minutes and 58 seconds is the only time that I have under 35 minutes, and it is one of 2 times that is under 36 minutes. Nidoking is in second place with 35.13, and Kingler is in third place with 36.28. It's honestly ridiculous just how much better Victreebel and Nidoking are than all of the other Pokemon that I've ranked so far. I think this might be one of my shortest fully produced videos, so I'm gonna play the Oak fight for all of you. I think it also helps to pad the runtime, which is not useful for my YouTube metrics. It's actually really bad for YouTube metrics because if people drop off and don't watch the end of the video, it hurts my channel. But I don't care. What I want to do is throw off people who are trying to get a sense for how Victreebel's run is going earlier into the video. I think things have the potential to be a little bit more dramatic that way. Okay, so Oak, I've given him the toughest team for Victreebel, which has both an Arcanine and a Charizard. I can't set up at the beginning of the fight because then I'll lose my badge boosts. Instead, what I'm going to do is knock out the Tauros and the Executor using Sleep Powder, then put the Arcanine to sleep, set up with Swords Dance on it, and then sweep the rest of Oak's team. While I'm setting up on the Arcanine, it does wake up and I try to put it back to sleep. Unfortunately, I miss, get hit by Ember. This gets a critical hit and Victreebel faints. Technically, that's the second reset for the video, but this is an unofficial part of the game. In the next battle, the Arcanine just keeps snoozing and I get set up all the way to +6. I one-shot it, but the following Charizard gets crit, surviving, but it doesn't choose Flamethrower, instead choosing Fire Spin. Victreebel just barely survives with 3 hit points and knocks out the second fire type. Now, I wasn't sure about my damage range against the Gyarados. I go for Body Slam and it barely doesn't do enough damage. This is because Victreebel is 11 levels lower. So what's Oak's massively overleveled ace gonna do? It just goes for Leer, fails, and Victreebel wins. Tomorrow is the first of the final 5 videos for Pokemon Yellow. I am going to be playing Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise. This game has been so much fun to explore. Thank you for following me during the journey. Also, thank you for supporting me during the journey. Now, if you've made it this far, you're incredible. I'll see you in tomorrow's video when early daily December continues.